Andrea, do you have a shoe? We might not get to it, depends what time it's like, but I would like to get to that again at some point today. Right, so come into the end of your mat. Same as before, arms out in front, come down into a goblin squat, so the heels lift, come down with as much control as you can. Once we get down here, I want you to see if you can, see if you can, you will be able to, open the thighs a little bit wider this time. So you're getting that sort of into the inner thigh stretch. Hand comes down, brace the elbow against the inner thigh and open, twisting out. So just going a little bit wider, it just pries open the hips a little bit. Holding for a little bit longer and then releasing. Same again, elbow into the knee. Use the elbow pressing into the knee to help you rotate that little bit further round. And then release. Hands come down to the mat, going to walk out to plank. Hold, just briefly. Nice and slow and steady. Knee to elbow, your choice which one. Take it back. Knee to the opposite elbow. Take it back. Slowly lower the chest down to the mat. Again, you can bring your knees down if you need to. As much control as you can. Let the legs come a little bit wider than hip distance. The hands come around onto the back, palms up. Let the elbows relax down to the mat. You can press them down a little bit. I kind of like that stretch into my shoulders. And then lift the elbows high, lift the hands high, swing them all the way around. Thumbs up, and let's go full extension. So arms and legs together. Reach them away from you to lift. Lower down, we're going to go again. Reach and lift. We're going to do 3. Lower down. 1 more, reach and lift. Neck free. Lower down. Bring the hands slightly widen the shoulders for cobra. So lifting the chest, legs are active. You know, I'm activating my glutes, I'm reaching my legs away. So I'm not just kind of floppy at the lower half of my body. I'm pausing here. Pull the shoulders away from your ears. Open the chest, lift the chin. You can look up if you wish. That's uncomfortable on your neck, look forward. Squeeze the glutes, tighten the quads, front of the thigh, point the toes away. And then lower, probably about halfway or a little bit more. I'm going to bring the right leg over. As the right leg comes over, you bend both, you're going to come up into your 90-90 or thereabouts, it might be a bit narrower. Let's do the come to kneeling. So in that case, you need to bring your legs closer so that you can come up to kneeling. If you need your hands to help you come up, that's fine. Control it back down. Legs come back out to 90-90. It's that, am I right in thinking? Yeah, left leg coming back over. So you come back onto your front, left and right. Never any good at this time in the morning. Right leg comes over, you come up into your 90-90. Close that gap or close the legs and then come up into kneeling. So here, the idea is that you activate the glutes to come up, so your glutes are engaged and you open in the front of the hip. So I won't call it a thrust. You don't want to be getting into your lower back, but you certainly want to be opening the front of the hip. Slowly back down, back to 90-90. It's that right leg that's going to come back over to bring you back down to the mat. And then from there, I'm going to push back through all fours, walk the hands back, tuck the toes, come back to your goblet, squat. Same thing. Open the knees wide. And from here, I'm going to balance. So just again, just slight variations. You're going to take the hands out to the side and lift the chest. So you're balancing knees wide, chest lifted, chin lifted, so opening out. Reach the arms back. Balance involved. And then bring the arms forward. You can let the knees come in a little bit. You're going to bring the hands just in front of you. You can clasp one on top of the other, but you're rounding here. So round the spine, so tuck the chin to the chest and round the spine forward. I suppose I look like I'm diving off a diving board in a funny position. That's what it reminds me of anyway, I have funny analogies. And then come back up to vertical, arms are out in front, and we come to standing. All right, so that's going to be the basis of this little flow to start with. So we can move a little bit quicker this time. Plank's going to be knee to wrist. So arms out, come down into your squat, open the knees. Left hand down, right arm up for the twist. Switch sides. Both hands down, walk out to plank. Adjust if you need to. Right knee, left wrist. Take it back. Left knee, right wrist. Take it back. Lower the chest with control. Bring the hands onto the back. Legs a little bit wider than hip distance. Elbows to mat. Elbows high. Swim the arms around. Thumbs up. We're going to do 3 lifts. Arms and legs lift and release. Lift and release. One more. And release. Cobra. So bring the hands, slide the hands in. Lift the chest. Make sure you're pulling the shoulders down away from the ears. You can spin the elbow pits forward. Lower about halfway. Let's go left leg coming over. So you go 90-90. Close the gap. Come to kneeling, open the hips. Lower back down. 90-90. Leg comes over. Straight to the other side. Right leg comes over. 90-90. Find that first. Close the gap. Come to kneeling. Open the hips. Down you go. Right leg comes over. You come back down onto the mat. You push back through all fours. Tuck in the toes. And you're back into your goblin squat. Knees wide. Heels lifted. So again, we're going to come into that little bit of extension. So the arms open. And you lift the chest. Kind of arching the back. You sticking your tail out. Sticking your chest out. Lifting the chin. And then curling back in. So as you curl back in, I'm dropping my belly to my thighs or in between my thighs, rounding my spine, ears between my upper arms, and then releasing back to arms out in front without falling over, she says, and then come to standing. The next time we go down, we're going to pivot onto a side plank. So down we go into your goblet squat. Left hand down, right arm up. Bracing against the thigh, switching sides, walk it out to your plank. Just pause there. Let's have a look at your feet, make sure they're about hip distance apart so you can pivot. So my feet do the windscreen wiper, they kind of initiate if you like. I'll let my hips go, and as soon as I can't go any further with my hand down, the hand lifts. And hold briefly, and then we're going to pivot back. So this time, initiate the movement with the hip coming over. So I'm lifting my hips up and over and controlling it all the way back. Shuffle the feet if you need to, and then repeat on the other side. The hips and the feet. And then the hand. Pivoting back, lift the hips, pivot on the feet. And the hand comes down. Again, adjust if you need to, and then lower the chest to the floor. Open the legs a little bit. Hands palms up. Drop the elbows. Lift the elbows. Lift the hands. Swing them round. Reach everything away to lift. Check in with your neck, it should be free. And release. Reach to lift, tense glutes, toes pointed, and release. One more time. Reach, 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 tense, tense, tense. And lower down, slide the hands in for cobra. Lift the chest. The wider the hands, the lower your cobra, and that's fine. And make sure quads are engaged. So you're lifting the kneecaps, you're pulling. I like to pull the floor towards me, if that makes sense. So if you feel like you're pulling your hands towards you, you'll find a deeper stretch into the front of the body. You're not actually moving. You probably see me pulling. And then lower that down. Let's go left leg coming over. to 90-90, close the gap, kneel and open the hips. Lower it back down, 90-90, back leg comes over, switch, right leg, 90-90, close the gap, come to kneeling to open, lower it down, back leg, back through all fours, walk the hands back, tuck the toes, wide through the knees, open the arms, lift the chest, lift the chin, so your gaze is just up at the, I don't know, where the ceiling meets the wall, in my case. And then rounding. So I'm dropping my belly between my thighs, reaching the arms. And then release, come back to vertical, arms out in front, and we stand. I'm going to do one more like that. I'm going to finish on the floor this time. And in the side plank, we're going to do a little bit of an exploration with the hip. It's your choice as to whether you do that, right? So you can just hold the side plank, or you can play with the leg positions. Right, so same thing. As you come down, the heels lift, knees wide, right arm up to twist and open, switch your sides, twist and open. Both hands down, come out to plank. Now pivot into side plank when you're ready. Take the arm up. So when you're here now, you've got this, you've got your side plank position. Your bottom foot, your hand and your hip should all be in one line. Now just bear in mind, when you're on your elbow, if you collapse on an elbow, you've not got far to go. If you collapse here, it's a long way to go. So just pay attention. So if you can, you're going to pick up your top leg. Doesn't need to be as high as mine. You can even rest it on the bottom leg, or you can take the top leg up and just hold. So you look a bit like a star. Ooh. A lot of work for the bottom glute. This is like a clam on steroids. Lower the top leg, ooh. Bring it in front so that you can pivot back to your plank. Okay, and then we go to the other side. So same again, pivot the legs, pivot the hips, take the arm up, hold briefly. So it might be enough of a challenge just to stack the feet one on top of the other. That might be enough. It might be enough just to try and hover the top leg an inch off the bottom one. You might like to go a little bit further and test your balance. Hold for 3, for 2, for 1. Lower that leg back down, pivot back through plank, and then lower the chest to the mat. Open the legs a tad. Hands palms up on the back, elbows to floor, elbows to ceiling. Swing the arms around. 3 lifts, reach the arms and legs away. Nice and relaxed through the chest and the shoulders. You're lifting the arms, you're lifting the legs, your neck shouldn't be involved. Lower everything back down. Go again, reach and lift and lengthen. Tighten the quads, lifting the kneecaps, pointing the toes, calves engaged. Lower that down. One more time. Reach everything as long as you can. And release. Bring the hands in for cobra. Lower halfway. Pick up the left leg. You go 90-90, we close the space and lift and open. Sink back down, back to 90-90. Back leg comes back over. Transition through from your belly, right leg coming over. 90-90. Close the gap. Kneel up, opening the hips. Sink back down. 90-90. Back leg comes back through, or back over, I should say. And you're back onto your front. So from there, we're going to come into that whole body position again. So just waking up the core, if you like. It's not been woken up enough. So turning over. This whole body position, it's a gymnastic movement. It's what they use to I'm going to be boring to death. I could bore you to death forever with that. It's a gymnastic movement. Right, so curl the head, neck and shoulders up, hook the knees into the chest. You know, pause here. So without changing your shape, as in your spine and your leg position, reach the arms past your shins. So that's your first challenge, is to stay curled up and to keep pulling the knees into your chest. If when you let go of your shins, your knees flew away from you and your head went back towards the mat, you know you've got to come up far enough. Curl up into a little ball. And then from there, we're going to reach the right arm back and bring it back. Left arm and bring it back. Right leg, reach it out, keep curled up, hug it back into the chest, left leg goes out. Pull it back into the chest. Right arm, left leg, return. Opposite side, return, both together, and return and release. And so the idea behind it is, at this point where everything's out in this position, the longer you go, the harder it is. But if I was to push on my feet, my body would rock like a ball. It's how you, it's kind of, they use it to see how organized the person is through their core. So if I'm here and reaching, to do it with the arms out, I could do it here. So if he was to press on my feet, I would be able to keep that shape and try to demonstrate, yeah? Without, if somebody presses on your feet normally, you kind of collapse. So it's whether you can hold the shape. So we're going to do it again, just the arms and the legs, and I want you to see if you can rock in that shape. Yeah. The answer might be a resounding no, the brain might explode, but it's fine. Hook the knees into the chest. Reach the arms. So here we go, reach the legs. Your choice how low, reach the arms up by the ears, and then just see if you can keep that shape as you rock. And then hug back in. It's not easy, because you kind of want to go from somewhere. You could try it with the arms reaching to the thighs, that's a little bit easier to find that rocking action. But as you can see, I'm not using my legs to kind of fling me about, so it's not like this. I'm keeping the exact same shape, so all the work comes from the core. And just the very act of trying should have made all of this around your centre burn and work, which is what we're after. Nicely done, Nicola, that looked pretty good. Right, okay, so let's come over to beast. So we'll go static beast first. So knees roughly in line with belly button, hands under shoulders, push the floor away so the shoulder blades are wide, spin the elbow pits forward so you're turning the arms out, and then hover the knees about an inch off the mat. So just activating here. Neck long, relaxed, glutes are engaged, still pushing the floor away, still breathing. And then release the knees. Then you take it into loaded beast. So you're going to hover the knees again. You're going to take your butt back to your heels, and the knees come a little bit wider than the hips. Walk the hands away. So we're going to do our unload here. Knees stay an inch off the floor, chin stays tucked, tail stays tucked. And here's that hollow body position again. So I want you to try and find that same work in the abs. Squeeze the glutes, push the floor away. So you rounded, a lot of flexion, and then go back exactly the same way. Knees stay an inch off the floor, and you can see them. Go again, unload. Take it back, load a beast, one more time, unload. Squeezing the glutes, and then take it back, lower the knees, drop the elbows if you need to come off your wrist for a moment. So wave unload, taking the hips up high. You're going to hit that high position first without traveling forward. So from here, lift the elbows if you haven't already. Hover the knees. hips high, heels high. Now make sure you've not travelled forward, so push the mat away from you. So you hit the high point first. Chin stays tucked. Lead with your camel pump. So rounding the spine. You're coming forward, which brings the hips down. Once you can't come forward anymore, the hips keep travelling down towards the mat, glutes are engaged, just like in our extension when we started. Lift the chest, lift the chin. You've got to get the chin in first before you go back. Push the floor away, round the upper back, round the mid back, round the lower back, all the way back to that high point. Should be a little bit of stretch in the hamstrings maybe. Make sure you're shrugging the shoulders towards the ears. And then sink back down to your loaded beast, and then lower the knees and drop the elbows. So it's nice to do some of these as a flow, but we need to kind of break it down and build the strength to do it first, which is why I'm doing it so slow. It's harder doing it slow, obviously. If you can't do it slow, you've no business doing it fast. Speed hides need. I'm just waffling to give you a break. So do it again, yeah? One's never enough. All right, same thing. Hover the knees. Keep pushing the mat forward so that when you come up, you've not travelled forward. So hit the high point first. Tuck the chin to the chest, round the spine, start to travel forward. The hips will come down automatically. When you can't travel forward anymore, the hips keep going. The chest lifts, essentially a cobra on steroids, isn't it? So coming up with the chin, up with the chest. Glutes are engaged, legs are engaged. Chuck the chin, done it again, chuck the chin, tuck the chin. Lift that upper back to the ceiling. Try to get that wave-like motion through the spine again. All the way up to that high point, heels high, and then sink back down to your loaded beast. Release the knees. And again, you can have a moment. Everything wiggles. You're just loosening out the tension. Have a bit of a jiggle. And a few deep breaths. Okay. So, what have we got left? Oh, yes, let's do the beast reach. My favourite, my nemesis. So the beast reach is where the elbow doesn't go anywhere, the elbow stays, but the knee comes to the outside of the elbow. All right. Yeah. Toes tucked. Find your loaded beast. So sinking the arms away. From here, lift the knees. So right leg. Yeah, right leg. So as you lift up to that high point, bring the right heel to your right foot. Now you might travel forward, it's dead easy to travel. So push the mat forward so that you travel backwards. So you hit that high point first, toes pointed, heel to butt. Now as you travel forward, the right knee is going to come out and as high as you can on your arm. It's going to press in, which is going to give you some support. And at that point, you look forward as best you can. You're still rounded. So then basically an unload on steroids. Got lots of steroids this morning. Take it back the same way. So push the floor away and forward. So you hit the high point. And then as you come back down, the foot stays lifted as long as possible. Drop your knees while I'm having a moment with my nose running. And then we'll go on the other side. So same thing on the other side. So left leg. So start to lift the hips as soon as you can. Bring the heel to your butt and your knee to your chest, your high heel, and make sure you've not traveled. Push the floor away. Keeping the knee into the chest as long as possible. Start to come down, traveling forward. The knee comes to the outside of the elbow and presses in, and you look forward to go back, the chin tucks. All the way back, hit that high point, knee to chest, heel to butt. And then keep the heel to your butt as long as you can as you come back down, back to your loaded beast, and then lower the knees again. And come off. Oh my God, where's the time gone this morning? 26 minutes past. I was going to do cobras, I was going to do the shoe. Andrea's brought a shoe. Sorry, Andrea, I don't think we're going to get to the shoe this morning. I feel really bad. The days that you've remembered to bring a shoe and I had to run about the house, I've not used it. We're going to put some of this stuff together. Let's do those three. So unload, the wave, and what we've just done, whatever it's called, beast reach. So I'll call it for you. So toes are tucked, knees are wide, loaded beast, arms outstretched. So from here, we're going to do the unload first. So lift the knees, unload, chin to chest, tail tucked, knees stay an inch off the mat. Find that work in the abs, and then take it back. We're going to do another one. Same thing, keep the knees an inch off the floor, go forward, everything stays tucked. And go back. Then we go wave unload, lift the hips high, don't travel forward, heels high, hips high. Lead with the hump, start to travel forward, chin stays tucked. When you can't travel forward anymore, the hips lower. The chest lifts, you're pushing the floor down, lift the chin. To go back, tuck the chin. Lift the upper back to the sky first. Start to push the floor away, go back, hit the high point, heels high. Sink back down to your loaded beast. Right leg beast reach. As you come up, right heel to right butt cheek, chin to chest. Make sure you've not travelled. Come forward. Right knee comes to the upper arm, presses in, look forward. Take it back, chin first. Push the floor away. Heel to butt, chin to chest. Sink back to your loaded beast. Leg comes down, opposite side, left leg. Start to lift up, heel to butt, chin to chest, travel forward, knee to the outside of the elbow, look forward, chin first, push the floor away, hit the high point, come back down to your loaded beast, and rest. And unstick your clothes from your sweaty body if necessary. All right, down for our pretzel. To finish. I think you were going to need to extend the time on these things. No, don't do that. So make sure you pull the bottom leg back first and then open to the sky. So yeah, I've kind of been teaching you this, that you know, knee down, foot down. And I kind of like the fact that the knee comes down gives you this stretch on this top glute, which after those side planks is going to be a nice stretch. But like I said yesterday, you can kind of play with it a little bit, and there's nothing wrong with moving. So you can, I can roll slightly and bring my foot down, and my knee comes up, or I can roll the other way, and my knee comes down and my foot comes up. And I kind of like to just play between the two. So I teach it static to start with, and just get you to hold. But the moving version, or my moving version, is quite nice as well. So you could just kind of rock between those two. If you super bend your knees down and your foot's down, you don't need to do that. But you can. And just keep breathing. And then slowly release. I can't remember where I saw it. There's a t-shirt. It's one of the movement guys that I follow. Switching sides, grab your ankle, pull the leg back and open. But they've got these t-shirts that just say, just wiggle it. And I like that because that's kind of what we're doing in a lot of this stuff, especially the mobility and stretching stuff, if you're planning on doing the course in November. You see me rocking again. It is like, if you've got a necklace, like a chain, that gets knotted. You can never pull on the ends, that's never going to work. You kind of got to get your fingernails in and wiggle it about to get rid of all the knots. I kind of like that analogy. So feel free to wiggle is what I'm saying. Long roundabout way. And then slowly release. You can stay flat on the mat if you need to, kind of to stay here. I'm not going to come and say goodbye to you guys. Well done. There's the penultimate one for October. My fluffy hair. We've got one more to do tomorrow. That's October done. So there won't be one Monday because I've got stuff on, or Friday next week. But Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday will be as per. Yeah, you'd be able to tell from the timetable if you've signed up. All the dates are already set for when I'm away in November. But otherwise, it's just, you know, as per. I'm thinking about doing a longer version on an evening as well, like so you could break some of the movements down. It might just be that we do like a workshop kind of version, just so that, because conscious of the fact that 30 minutes in the morning, we're not rushing through it, but it doesn't really give us an opportunity to kind of go through the movements and make them good for your bodies. So if you fancy that, you think it's a good idea, just comment or drop me an email or whatever. And if I get enough interest, I'll whack it on one evening or a weekend. We'll just make it an hour of, you know, do this like this and do that like that, and hopefully make it better for you. Yeah. Right. I will leave you alone. Have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow, hopefully.